Welcome to Cabra Matters, because Cabra matters. And this week we have, it's the same cast. It is Will and Hien and myself. And just remember to spread the word. We are on Apple Podcasts and we're on Spotify. We're also on YouTube. You can also jump on our website, cabra.church/podcast, and you'll find us there. This week we have a special edition of Cabra Matters. We're not going to be spending heaps of time, if at all, in the Bible. For good reason, because this week there's been a government announcement about the easing of restrictions as of today. And so we just want to give you an insight into where we're up to, and we want to plan, share with you what we think the roadmap ahead will look like, and just to kind of thrash that out a little bit. And so, we're going to spend the next 30, 40 minutes just doing that. So hopefully it'll be helpful for you. Currently, we have three options. These are the three options. I'll just name it first, and then afterwards I'll open it up and we'll visualize what it looks like. So currently, as it is, here are the three options. Firstly, we just continue doing what we're currently doing. We just keep live streaming. We keep, everything is just as is, live streaming, and we don't meet back in person until COVID is over. Second option is we meet at church in person. That's with all the social distancing guidelines, etc., etc. We'll talk about that in a moment. But resuming meeting in person. And then the last option is we do a combination of both. It's kind of like a hybrid. We'll meet in person at church, and then we'll also live stream. And so just to help us make a decision that we think is best for our congregation, we want to just visualize what this looks like and hear your voice our concerns, our reflections on what it might look like. And go from there. So, let's open it up. Let's go through option one. Live streaming. What might this look like? What are the pros and cons of picking this option?
I think firstly I want to say thanks to everyone who filled in the survey. I think that's really helped us gauge, where you're at in terms of thinking about gathering physically again, and it's been quite helpful. But I think it'd be more helpful for us if more people filled in the survey as well. And so I want to encourage you to fill in the survey so that we can be a bit more informed in terms of thinking about the options that we may adopt and what that may look like. Please fill in the form, cabra.church/gathering.
Currently we're about 26 submissions, which we know is not representative of our whole church. We'd like it to be around 70, 80 at the least. That'd be really helpful.
Thanks. So back to what if we just continue live streaming. I think we'd want to encourage people to be able to meet in homes a bit more, since now we're a bit more free to move around, to meet in homes, and perhaps we may need to do some kind of registration system for people to do that, and then we'll just continue that. But what we miss is the bigger gathering of our family together.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, if you think about it, like a family, right? Like you have extended family and stuff, and then we used to meet as a big extended family every week and to worship God together and to sing praises to Him and pray and so on. But now we're all like in our own kind of nuclear families. Right, and even if we meet with another nuclear family, it's still something missing. There's still the big family gathering that's not there, and there's something that's beautiful about being able to gather together as a whole people. So if we continue that, and the problem is, I think we're uncertain about how long this would be. Right, how long will it be before COVID is over in that sense? So those are my kind of current thoughts.
I think we go the first option. I think nothing changes much except for those who are serving, improving different things like music or hosting chats or there's not much difference to what it is now, except for just improving those who are serving.
Because at some level it is the easier option, isn't it? It's just, we just continue doing as we're doing. But I'm sure some people might be asking that question, but then there's also concerns behind it, isn't there? Like, so,
Yeah.
sorry, that's a bit of a leading question, but like,
Because we don't know what people are doing when they're not when they're at home, tuning into the live stream, because they might be just cooking while they're watching live stream, not really intently concentrating, or they might be can hear the kids. So we don't really know who are intently there and who are not. But I think in my household, what I've noticed is I don't sing as much to the live stream.
Yeah.
So maybe if we do that, I think the singing aspect of praising God is a little bit lost.
Yeah. I personally found it hard as well, like when I'm at home, because both Sophie and Ethan, they're not really engaged in the service really, and so they're doing their thing, and so like where our attention is split, and I may not get as much out of like the live stream service as I would have if we were gathered at church. So that was a struggle, and I think from the previous survey that we did, some people indicated that spiritually they're not going too well because there's lack of accountability, not being able to see people and the growth groups, like even though it is good because we can continue meeting around God's word over online, it's still, some people may not be part of a growth group, and I think it's still kind of like, I don't know, don't want to say something missing, but it feels less than ideal still.
It's a physical interaction,
I think so,
that we're missing,
or
we're yearning for.
I was just also thinking, like, if this goes on for the rest of the year, that's one possible landmark. It could be for the rest of 2020. But again, we don't know when vaccines will come out. That could be middle of next year for all we know, or even end of next year. I don't know. The longer and longer I find like gathering, just as we are now, the more and more I'm like, wow, it'd be really good if we could gather again, just as like one big church. That'd be really good, because like I'm with you. Like when I'm at home, it's just harder. It's just harder to concentrate. I don't see as many people. I'm putting on Bible apps for the kids while I'm trying to tune in, and then there's still daddy. And
it's not working, daddy.
Yeah. It's just
fix this.
It's just not the same.
And I think even when we had people over, like we spread the distraction to them as well. It's not as though because then the kids would want to play with them or something and so on, and then like okay, maybe everyone is distracted now rather than like being able to engage with God's word and hear the sermon and engage in singing together.
I think I can see that my laziness side of things, I would like to stay as it is. I mean, like not being accountable, stuff like that. But then, is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's weighing that out.
Well, so there is that danger of consumerism.
Like
it's really easy to just consume church and then just check out. Whereas I think that runs against the grain of actually being a Christian. It's like we're here to serve one another. We're not here to just gain and get what we want out of church. We're here to serve one another, and part of that actually means we listen to each other, we love each other, we speak God's word to one another, all those things.
And that's kind of like easy. It's more easily facilitated if we gathered together physically in one space. Because even if our presence there, kind of like in a sense, low key serves other people because they know we're together in this. But then there's incidental opportunities to speak into one another's lives, which you can't do if you're at home. That's why we have the Zoom groups, but not everyone joins the Zoom groups after church, and that's okay because it's just the timing of things and so on. So like being able to physically gather can help facilitate that.
Alright, so that's option one. Just continue live stream as is until COVID is over, whenever that is. Whenever that is. The second option is, alright, so the government has now announced easing of restrictions as of today. So that means we can now gather up to 50 people on church premises, but with the massive change of no congregational singing.
Yep.
That being said, I think it is technically allowed, but it's highly, strongly recommended not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want to be negligent in that responsibility. So, for example, if the government advises, no congregational singing, but it's not like against the law, and we do it, and someone gets sick and disease is transmitted, then we'll be found negligent because we didn't listen to government advice, even though it's technically legal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the grey area there. Yeah.
Yeah, so it just reminds me of like what are our values behind this? Like again, we want to love our neighbours. We don't want to be the ones who spread COVID to our community.
Yeah.
That being said, it does look like the cases are quite low at the moment, but still, you can be an asymptomatic carrier. There could be underreporting, all sorts of things like that.
And just imagine not singing in church. Like, would it be church feel like? Yeah. But I think we're allowed to have singer in front to sing to us.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how would we feel if someone's singing to us, like, in all the songs, not just one song as an item?
And we're just humming along, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's unclear entirely just yet with the masks. It's like there is talk of potentially that might be approved, where we come to church with masks on. Maybe then we can sing, but I think we just got to wait on that. Yeah, the diocese is in conversation with the government on a week-to-week basis as well, so they're constantly sharing these things. So we might hear back this week or next week.
Yeah, so I think they're in conversation with the government, and I think the current advice is to err to caution, right? Like, as in, okay, we advise no singing even with masks, but they're still talking to the government about it.
Yeah,
I think another issue with meeting together is spacing. Our church hall can only fit so many people. We haven't calculated it yet, but it's estimated maybe, I don't know, 40.
Yeah,
50
I think probably around 40, because
in our church hall.
the estimate that I used was we have a badminton court, right, in our hall, and then like a kind of an area around it, and the badminton court is like 80 square meters, so that's 20 people. And then if you think about the area around, then probably about 40-ish.
Yeah. So let's keep going on that work. Let's just visualize what will church look like if we gather in person. What will it look like?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this one a little bit as well. Just thinking about, like, I think the 1.5 meter rule, right, is an advice. So we need to try to do that as much as possible. So one way that we would do it as a church is we'll arrange seating where the seats are, at least 1.5 meters away from each other. But that will be interesting because you head into church and then you're sitting in your own little bubble.
And do we have one seat there or two seats in the one spot? Because of families. And so that's be interesting as well.
Yeah. And I feel like if we do that kind of, like, because families, the households aren't required to physically distance from one another, especially if you've got kids, right? But then that kind of goes against the grain of our unity, I think, in one sense, because now we're all separate in separate bubbles. But then we know theologically that we are united in Christ as one people, and then we're sitting in bubbles. So that's a bit like incongruous to me.
It's very a-relational.
Yeah.
Which is like we're constantly encouraging people, like pre-COVID, we're encouraging people to talk to the new person, sit next to one another. If there's an empty spot next to that person, go sit next to them so you can listen to them and love them. Whereas this is like, no, you're not allowed to do that now. You can, but you got to stay away. Which is it just runs against the grain of who we are.
Yeah. And then in terms of accommodating our church is about 100 average before COVID. And so we fit 40 people in the hall. Where do we fit the other 60?
Yeah, I mean, potentially we could spread them out across into the chapel into the upstairs rooms, into the foyer area.
Yeah.
But again, like we'd have to max out the space,
Yeah.
and it's just different.
Yeah. But in terms of timeline, we're not thinking about this stage yet, eh? The 50 people stage.
Yeah.
We're thinking about
100.
at least
So stage 3.
at least stage 3 where 100 people are allowed to gather. Yeah, and that's across the whole site.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think our site can accommodate 400 people anyway. Yeah, so that's still a valid question.
Yep.
Like how do we then? Yeah.
And sharing the facility or the site with the Chinese congregation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we covered singing. We've talked about chairs being spread out and being in little bubbles. One of the things with the Chinese side that we'll have to think through is service times.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about that. Service times and cleaning.
Yeah. So if the Chinese decide to meet again, which they're pretty keen to in stage 3, for them to maximize space, they'll need to meet in the hall as well. They'll need to make use of the hall. But then the government also requires us to then make sure we clean everything, like wipe down surfaces and stuff
before the next
group comes in. And that means, and I think that on top of that, the diocese also wants us to keep our services to an hour max. Yeah.
In terms of movement from the car park.
Yeah. So once the person's
parks the car,
come into the property, you have an hour time limit, and they get out.
I think it's from the time they park the car, go to church and come back to the car.
Oh, okay.
It's an hour.
That's
how I read it.
Yeah, the way I understood it was the car park is part of the church property.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because some churches they have their own car park, whereas we do, but we don't use it as a car park.
Yeah.
Wait, is that a recommendation at this point, or is that like you have to do this?
It's a recommendation.
I think
like highly recommended.
I think it's one of the diocesan guidelines.
Okay.
Yeah. To keep it to an hour.
Yeah.
At the max.
To keep it to an hour max. Yeah. So then we're also limited by time.
Yep.
But then also the Chinese will need to wipe down the surfaces and stuff like that, and then they need to get out, and then we can get in.
Yeah.
So that's people movement.
Yeah, people movement.
Because I anticipate that's going to be tricky because there's going to be traffic.
Yes.
Yeah. Entering will be staggered.
Yeah.
And then throw in social distancing.
Yeah.
What what's that going to look like? What's going to?
Yeah.
So if a service time, we may only have 5 minutes of singing or 5 minutes of introduction.
Yeah.
20-minute talk. 5-10 minutes of thing, and then
and we can't. Yeah, I don't know if we can even like hang out after the service in the building to talk.
Yeah,
but I guess that's not too much of a problem for some people because then they can go to Cabra.
Yeah. But in terms of the in between time, it just depends on how many people are on site.
Yeah, and then moving them out totally. Say the Chinese come in.
Yeah.
And then move them out totally before the English can start to come in. We can't just meet be together.
It can't just be like a 9 AM and 11 AM.
Yeah.
We might have to shift the times.
So
to allow for that.
To allow that movement, it might take half an hour for people to move out.
Yeah.
And they'll move in.
Yeah. But if the Chinese keep to 1 hour service, then there'll be more time in between.
Yes.
Yeah. So if they finish at 10. Then at least they have half an hour to clean and get out.
But then our experience with the Chinese is a bit slower.
Yeah.
So it take more time.
Yeah. So I think the best case scenario is we at least start at the earliest 11:30.
Yeah. The earliest.
At the earliest, most optimistic. Everything.
Because it needs to be clean. Because it takes time to clean down.
Yeah. Everything.
But it has to be wiped.
Yeah. I think the Chinese are good at cleaning.
Yeah.
But whether
every surface is every chair needs to be wiped.
Every chair,
every mic,
table, the mics,
the doors, handles.
What if we push Chinese side to meet at 8:30?
You can ask.
We can ask.
You can always ask to ensure our 11:30. So we're moving later. They're moving early, half an hour each.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And that means we have to clean as well. When
we've got to clean afterwards too.
Yeah.
When I think of an 11:30 service, I'm like, that's just an awkward time.
It is.
11's awkward enough. The 11:30 is super awkward.
Everyone's going to be hungry.
That's it, yeah. And I think that needs to be it affects our conversations afterwards. Like people they're hungry. I'm not going to hang around and chat for another hour because it's lunchtime.
Or we can swap it with Chinese and have our early morning.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And request to be first.
Yeah. And so the time frame we're looking at is, look, this stage 3 is potentially going to be in July, which we're now 1st of June. That's less than a month. So these are some big decisions that need to be made.
Yeah.
Before then.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, we don't have to start at the beginning of stage 3, right?
That's true too. Yep.
Yeah, but we need to plan for it now.
For at least stage 3, and I think the government seems to suggest that stage 3 is going to be a long stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Before they further ease restrictions again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now there's one more thing that we didn't expand on, which was the check-in system.
Yes.
Yeah, can you walk us through that? Yeah, and you've been tinkering away at the check-in system.
I think we need to keep records of people for what's it called?
Contact tracing.
Contact tracing.
Yep.
And also the COVID app. Maybe we need to have a requirement for people to download the COVID app before they're allowed to come in.
Yep.
So in the times of registration, new people have put their details down. If we already got your details, we'll just mark your attendance. And there'll be a need assistant for that. That's contactless in the sense that we won't have a welcoming team there to greet you per se. You probably need to register yourself. Maybe we have a computer or 3.
I think the diocese might have recommended to have non-shared surfaces. So for example, you don't get people to write their name down with the same pen, right? And so that may also include touch screens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Henry Zhao has been working on a system where you can register yourself on your own
phone
device.
Yeah.
And we don't know how quickly that can be put into practice. Practical that is.
Yeah.
But that's another option that we have.
We're also looking into a check-in system.
Yep. Through another software.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of effort by the sounds of it. There's a lot to do, a lot to think through, a lot to work out. It'll probably be a bit messy.
Yeah.
A lot of teething issues.
Yeah. I think another thing is, do we buy thermometer to test people's temperatures?
Yeah.
So that's another thing we've got to think about.
Yeah.
If you could share, just before we move on to the last option, if you could share one reason why, if someone pushes you, it's just too much effort. Why bother meeting in person? What would you say to them?
Because we're yearning for it, and it's good, and we're told to meet in person. I think psychologically it might be good for our mental health as well. But then there's a lot of effort, so it's easier not to. So much easier. But then in life, do we always do the easiest thing?
Yeah, I think God's people are called together, so we have an impetus and a motivation to gather as God's people. We can gather in smaller clusters, but that's also limited to 5 people per household. Yeah. What about you? What do you think, Rob?
I like asking the questions. I think it's just who we are. We're relational beings. God's relational. We're relational beings. It's a profound loss to not be able to meet in person. Even since we've started meeting in person again, I can feel just there's more energy. We get to hang out more. We get to socialize more as we read the Bible. We get engaged differently when we're meeting in person. There's just something different about hearing the live preaching of God's word in a gathering together, and then being able to share life together. It's just better. But yes, it's a lot more work.
Yeah.
And it will look different.
Yeah. And if we decide to go ahead, I think we need to pull together as a church family and really serve each other. Because there's requirements like if you're unwell, then you don't turn up, right?
Yeah.
And and then helping out with all the cleaning stuff and so on, and
So a bit more work. And I think we're meeting together. That I think I acknowledge that there are some people who are a bit scared to meet together because they might catch the COVID.
Yeah.
And so that might be a good segue to what's our next option.
Yeah, the third option is we live stream.
Yeah.
We keep the live stream and we meet in person.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Is the second option we still keep the live stream as well, though?
No. Yes.
We don't cut the live stream, right? We keep the live stream going.
That was unclear.
Yes. The second option is we still keep the live stream going as an option.
Yep.
But the third option is we do a
production,
a live like gathering, but we also encourage people to meet in clusters and stuff, right?
Yep.
Is that kind of the third option?
Now that we talk about it, I was initially thinking that the third option is live stream. So keep that, and then we also meet at church and we meet in homes.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of all of them.
Yeah.
Whereas the second one, I don't know, for some reason I just thought it was just at church.
Okay.
Yeah. I might cut that out.
But we never talked about it. Like, should we keep live streaming long term? Because that's part of the second option.
Yeah.
But that's another time.
That's another time.
That's another time.
Yeah. So can you share what? Yeah. So the third option.
I think the third option is like we have like less people at church, and try to encourage like hosts and clusters of people to gather in homes, to then engage in the live stream together, but also then do the social interaction stuff together in a home.
Yeah. So it's more like a house church.
Yeah.
Of I don't know, 2 or 3 households meeting in one.
Yeah.
And then you have some people that would want to come to church. Come to church.
Yeah, I mean, we have some communities doing this already. Like some churches in the southwest are meeting, like there's like 7, like one church I know of has 7 different little household churches that are meeting. I don't know whether they actually live stream or whether they, like how much communication there is between the groups, but that definitely is an option as well, with pros and cons again. I think the immediate con that stands out for me is there's just no kind of accountability. Like there's just not heaps of like togetherness.
Yeah.
Even though there is togetherness in that little bubble,
Yeah.
it's not togetherness as a whole community.
Yeah. And I think it just depends on how big the bubble can be.
Yeah, that too.
Because we're limited by what the government allows.
So I think at this stage it's 5. But
Yeah.
I anticipate that's going to go up to 10, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, we're not sure. Not sure what the government's thinking behind it. Because, like, for example, like funerals have gone up to 50, but weddings are like only 20.
Yeah.
And I think the thinking behind it is like, in a celebratory kind of way, like
you don't want too many people.
You don't want too many people.
Whereas in someone's death, you want them to pay their respects.
Yeah, right. And then so maybe they're thinking like in terms of meeting in someone's household, like maybe they do think that the ceiling is 5, and they won't move much more.
Then I think so.
Than 5.
I think that's probably longer term at 5.
Yeah, and then I mean, there's just spacing issues as well. Like, how many people can you fit in a household? Like our lounge room comfortably fits about 6, 6 to 7. No, like more than that, it just starts to feel crowded. And keeping in mind, look, social distancing rules, like they're not formally going to be enforced in households, but there's still the principle of trying to keep each other safe.
Yeah,
you do want to keep somewhat of a distance as well.
So you limit the people.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, you can have unlimited people in a household as long as there's only 5 people, like 5 visitors at a time. So you can have like 5 people for 1 hour, and then they leave, and then another 5 people.
And there's less there's less regulations in terms of cleaning and wiping things down.
Yeah. But that would be
and that contractation.
Now, this is partially my fault, but I noticed that when we talked about the second option, we only visualized it. So could you just rehash again, what do you see as the big differences between the second and the third option? So second is do we just push everyone into church? Like, because they seem quite similar now.
Yeah.
Now that we talk about it.
Yeah. I think so.
I think the question would hinge on whether we still do a live stream or not. Yeah. And I'm kind of like, I'm quite for continuing to live stream.
And the reason for that?
The reason for that,
potential wider.
It's just potential wider audience and people who you know, consciously don't want to meet physically yet. Yeah, because then we'll exclude everyone who feels, you know, uncertain or worried about gathering physically, and then we say, oh, we're not going to live stream either.
Yeah.
That's quite unloving, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I think it's emphasis, right? So like, the third option is we do get in contact with, you know, households, and then work out like on our survey, work out who's willing to host, and then begin to kind of like push people into you know, registering and going to homes.
Yeah.
And then making the church Sunday event like not the main event kind of thing. Yeah, and the second option is making that the main event and not really doing anything to encourage household gatherings.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
As you can kind of tell, we're still hashing it out.
Yep.
We're not entirely clear yet on what the roadmap looks like, and so we're thinking hard. We're trying to work it out, and we would also really appreciate your help.
Yeah.
It's already been super helpful to have the survey responses. Like, we've just been reading through it this morning, and yeah, it just looks like right now there's a 50-50 split between some people are like, yes, we want to come back. Some people are like, no. And so that's really helpful for us to know. If there's like a large majority of people saying, yes, we want to come back, all right, it's clearer what the way is. If there's a large majority no, again, that's a bit clearer. Right now it's 50-50. So we'd appreciate it. First thing is, if you know of anyone who hasn't filled out the survey, encourage them to. It's cabra.church/gathering. And so please do spread the word, give them the link. The more data we have to work with, the more informed a decision we can make, and the better that will hopefully be for our church in the months ahead. Second thing is, here's an announcement. We realize this is just us talking, and we don't really get to hear what you think or hear your voice. So we want to hear your voice, and we want to hear your input as well. And so this is really short notice, we know, but things have been happening in a short notice kind of way for the past little while, out of our control. But if you're free on these two times, we want to hold a town hall meeting. The town hall meeting really is just a time for us to share with you once again of this is what the roadmap is, and then we want to really hear your concerns, your questions. We want to think through particularly the consequences of each decision, and then also hear if you have any kind of alternative solutions. Help us out. We would really, really appreciate your help as well. So if you think you can make it to something like that, that would be really, really good. The times are, first we'll have two meetings. You don't have to go to both. It's just go to whichever one that you can make it to. The first one is on Saturday, this coming Saturday, at 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Hopefully that will be a time where kids can nap, and we can get people, some of the parents to come in as well. But if you can't make it to that one, Saturday 1:30 to 2:30, the next one is next Monday night, 8 to 9 p.m. So again, if you can make it to those, we're trying to keep it short, but we also want to hear your opinion. It's kind of like a sounding board. There won't be like a clear resolution or clear action point that comes out of that meeting. If you like that, I'm sorry, that will be a bit frustrating. The point of it really is just to hear your voice, to be a sounding board, and to talk through some of those things that we've just talked about. Yeah,
and just to kind of like, I guess the word sounding board is key, right? Like, we have ideas and we want to see how it's like you guys feel about those ideas, and then you can reflect back any suggestions and thoughts and concerns and so on.
Yeah, and we don't want to sideline everyone. Like, we want to hear, we want to collaborate with our church and just hear where are we going together. At the same time, we do recognize we're here to lead, and we want to this is the way forward. We need to push forward. 1 month is not a long time, and we need to start planning and implementing as soon as possible.
And I think if we can have as many people say what they want us to hear,
Yeah.
there'll be heaps helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So spread the word or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That there'll be a meeting this week.
Yeah, so hopefully you can join in on that. All three of us will be there, and we'd love to.
It'll be on Zoom.
It'll be on Zoom. The meeting link will come out before those times, and spread the word. We'll probably communicate this through Facebook groups and
Yep.
email potentially as well.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. That was just a little bit of a window into what our thinking is currently for COVID and our church. Hopefully that's been a bit helpful for you, and if there's more you'd like to input, come to those meetings.